Hello my dear friends, let us continue learning. In this session, you have to understand one important topic called as Pojo+Class and a Bean class. Actually speaking, you know what is Pojo+Class and what is Bean class, the concept you know, but that only is Pojo+Class, that only is Bean class, this you don't know. Certainly you will understand by the end of the lecture. Please do take the heading as the Pojo in bracket plain old Java object class and the Bean class. Carefully watch it. First, let us understand what is Pojo+Class. I will write one class now. One class I would write. Probably this is that class called employee. Inside the class employee, I will have one variable like this string name. I will have one more variable which is public int age. I will have one more variable private string gender. I will have one constructor like this employee, like this public employee, which is a no argument constructor or zero parameterized constructor. Next, I will have one setter like this, possibly this is public void set data, like this I will have, or set name separately I will have, probably here string name. Inside this I would tell whatever is there in name, give it to this dot name. Next, possibly I will write one more setter like this public void set age. Here I would tell this will accept one variable int age. Inside this I would tell whatever is there in age, give it to this dot age. Similarly, one more setter I would write public void set gender. Here I would write this would accept one variable string gender. Inside this I would tell this dot gender equals to gender. This is the closing of the set gender. Getters also I would write. Probably this is that public string get name. Inside this it would return name. Here you will have public int get age, return age. One more getter I have to write. I would write it here public string get gender. Probably here I would write return gender. This is the closing of the getter, that is the opening of the class, this is closing of the class. Anything new I have written in this class? One class I have written, but anything new I have written, something which you have never heard of, something which you have never seen. I know many students will tell, sir, why sir 3 setters, in 1 setter can't we write? You can write. I am writing 3, but setters, is the concept already taught to you? Yes. Either 1 setter or 3 different setters, 1 for 1. Getters, you know. Variables, you know. Constructor, you know. Correct? No argument constructor, you know. Whatever you are seeing here, this only is Pojo class, plain old Java object class. Pojo class is a class which has some variables and some setters and getters to those variables. I repeat, Pojo class is a class which has some instance variables and which has some public getters and setters, either 1 setter or multiple setters and multiple getters, whatever it is. Pojo class is a class which has some instance variables and has setters and getters for those instance variables, as simple as it is. Having a constructor is also not mandatory. Having a 0 parameterized constructor is also not mandatory. Whatever the class you are seeing here, this only is called as Pojo class, plain old Java object class. Plain old Java object class means using this type of classes, you can create the objects, you can give the data to this by using setters, you can take the data from this by using getters. Am I not correct? By using this, you can create the object. In that object, this will be there. For this, you can give the data by using this. You can take the data by using this. Or, look, for this you need not use setter also. For this you need not use setter also. But for this you have to use whatever it is. Ultimately, if a class is following the restrictions given by the Java, the restrictions given in the Java syntax, if it is following any class which is following that, every class is a Pojo class, as simple as it is. Of course, not that class in which main method is present and all. As I have told you, Pojo class is a class in which some instance variables are there and some getters and setters are there for instance variables. That only is Pojo class. What? So many Pojo class you have written till date, starting from that student, fan, so many Pojo classes you have written. I hope I am completely clear with what is Pojo class. Now in the interview also they would ask this, what is Pojo class, explain. Not only that, when you go to the company, they would mention you have to create one Pojo class which has this instance variables like that. They will mention in the design. By seeing the design you have to code. Like at that time Pojo class only you have to code, like this only you have to code. Many times we will make use of Pojo classes in the industry when the software development starts. Certainly you will understand when you go to the industry or when we do actual project in the full stack development course. But as of now, did you understand what is Pojo class? This only is Pojo class. Don't worry about the definition. I would give you the definition at the end. Pojo class example, copy this. The session will not end here. We have to see in Bean class also. We have to see it. What it is you will understand. First example, copy it. Pojo class example, copy it. Be quick. I hope you have completed. If not, please do rewind, please do complete it and move ahead, but I would continue. Pojo class you have understood. Any class that has certain instance variables and has the public setters and getters for those instance variables, which may have the constructor or may not have the constructor. No argument constructor becomes a Pojo class. Now what is a Bean class then? Bean class is a specialized Pojo class. Pojo class only, but specialized Pojo class with many restrictions, with many compulsions. See, for Pojo class, there is no compulsion that every instance variable should be private. See, here I have not written anything. Here I have written public. Here I have written private. It becomes Pojo class. But when it comes to Bean class, you have a restriction for this. Bean class is a Pojo class with some restrictions. If you ask me, sir, what restrictions? First thing, in Bean class, all the instance variables compulsorily should be private, like this. You have to have the controlled access to the data members in the bean class. That is when that class is called as bean class. If you have the controlled access to the data members of a class, then only that class is called as bean class. Otherwise, it is called as Pojo class. Plain old Java object class. Not only that, in the Pojo class, this is not mandatory. You can have a constructor, you may not have a constructor. But in the bean class, having a no argument constructor is compulsory. No argument constructor compulsorily you should have. That is when it is called as the bean class. In Pojo class, you can have, you cannot have, you may not have. Not only that, compulsorily you should have public setters and getters for those private members of the class. Then it becomes a bean class. Now whatever you are seeing here, this is a bean class. Java bean class. So Java bean is a Java class which has private members and public setters and getters for those private members, including a no argument constructor or zero parameterized constructor. This only is a bean class. Like that, if you see the difference between Pojo class and bean class, in Pojo class there is no compulsion that all the instance variables should be private. It may be public, it may be default, whatever I have not written here, that is default. Whenever you come to the full stack development, you will understand, because along with default you have public, private, protected. What you have seen till now is public and private. Default and protected you have not seen. Certainly you may will have to come to the full stack development to understand the difference between all those things. You might think, sir, we know, but you thought everything you know until you have attended here. What and all you don't know, I have proved it to you. To what extent you have to learn also, I have proved it to you. Like that, many things are in store. Anyway, this is that private members. But in Pojo class, you need not have like this. You can have public, you can have default, you can have private, whatever it is. No such restrictions to the data members. You may have a constructor, you may not have a constructor. If you have also, it is Pojo class. If you don't have also, it is Pojo class. You may have one setter, you may have multiple setters, whatever it is. Means to that extent, much of controlled access to the data members you may have, you may not have in the Pojo class. But in the bean, it is compulsory. That is why I am telling you, Java bean is a Java class with compulsorily private members in it, and compulsorily public getters and setters to those private members, and compulsorily you should have a no argument constructor. I really don't know. You might be thinking, sir, this is very simple concepts now, sir. Java bean. We know all this, we know. That is what I am telling you. You know. But that only is bean, that only is Pojo, you don't know. First thing. Second thing, if you want to understand Hibernate, Spring, and MVC architecture, all those things, this concept you should know. Bean concept you should know. There or in the real-time projects, clearly they would instruct you to write a bean. Clearly they would instruct you to write a Pojo class. You should know the difference between Pojo class and bean class. Now whatever you are seeing here, this you can call as Pojo class also. Why? Because that is what I am telling you. Pojo class will have data members and getters and setters with no restrictions. If you are applying, okay, every bean class is a Pojo class, but every Pojo class is not a bean class. I repeat, every bean class may be called as a Pojo class, but not every Pojo class can be called as a bean class, because in Pojo class it need not be private. This can be anything. In Pojo class this need not be present. That is also Pojo only. But when it comes to bean, you have compulsions, you have restrictions. This only is bean class. I hope I am completely clear. Apart from, after telling all this, one extra thing which I have not taught you till date, which I will not teach in this 45 days of lecture, I will tell off. Don't ask me what is this, because this I can tell you only in the advanced Java concept. Your bean class compulsorily should implement The serializable interface. It is a compulsion. What is that, sir? Implements serializable interface. All those three words is new to us, sir. Nothing we understood. Well, that is what I have told you. You will not understand. You will not understand. But I cannot skip this. I have to tell this in this 45 days of lecture, so that if you will come to the full stack development, things would become for easy. If you will not come, if you will go to attend the interview, they would ask what is bean, because 90% of the times they will actually use the bean class in the software development. They will ask. So actually I am making you industry ready to 1% higher. That is why I am telling you something which I have not taught, which I will not teach in this 45 days. Now don't ask me, sir, what is implements, what is serializable interface, what is serializable. If I tell also, you will not understand. Certainly you will not understand. Interface is a mechanism to achieve pure abstraction. What did you understand? Abstraction only you don't know. Serializable is a marker interface or tagged interface. What is tagged interface or marker interface? You have to know to understand it. What happens when you tell implements? That also you should know. Nothing you know about it. But as a passing reference, I am telling you. Now carefully listen. Java Bean is a Java class which has private members, public setters and getters for those private members, with one no argument constructor, and which is implementing serializable interface. That is what is a bean class. I hope I am completely clear about what is Pojo class, what is bean class. Below that, take the heading as bean class, copy this. One table would come which differentiates between the Pojo class and bean class. Same whatever I have told, that will be there. Means restrictions on this will not be there. This might be there, might not be there in Pojo. This will not be there in Pojo. That will come off in the Pojo. In bean class, this should be there, this should be there, this certainly should be private. All these differences you would get in the table. You can copy the table also. This session I would be stopping it here. We'll meet you in the next session. Until next session, please do take care of yourself. Happy coding and goodbye.
I had a lot of gap. So that was my tension actually. Where will I cope with them, or will I get behind them? Like when we need to do something, we need to learn it by ourselves. That's the thing what I learned from coders. Afterwards, when I came back to India, again I started with the same, like attend the classes in the morning, do some of the assignments at the night. Hi, I'm Devi. I have completed my MTech in Digital Communication and Networking from GSSS College, Mysore. Actually, I was going through some Google search and all. Some of my friends told me as well, so I heard it from them, and also I searched myself as well, the Google. I had a gap in my career because I had not started at all my career. So I was into a fact that okay, I should get a company and get a teaching where I can improve myself and get in touch with the same concept whatever I had left like 3 4 years back. So that was my aim, and I was expecting that from any organization whichever I joined. Placements, I would say like it's a good one actually. But I would say like I got little less placements because my year of pass out was 2017 MTech pass out. So there was a little bit delay. Like I thank everything to the codeness, because I don't know if I joined some other organization, I would not say like I would have been the same picking up rapport and all. Like when we need to do something, we need to learn it by ourselves.